Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. I'm your host, Cassidy Lynne, and we're back with another solo episode. I truly, okay, guys, it's summer, right? And I am feeling the summer pressure. Let's talk about this for a minute, okay? Because as a photographer, and I'm sure you guys all can relate to this, in the summer is when we are like the most busy, right? Like we've got shoots all the time, we've got weddings, it's nice weather. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I feel like there's a hair stuck in my mouth. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Okay. I just feel like when it comes to summertime, there's so much that happens. Like weddings, sessions, like I said, like you've got editing to do, like although summer is supposed to be like a time to like relax and I feel like, take advantage of the warm weather and stuff, like it becomes the opposite of that when you primarily are shooting and like working a majority of the summer. So this is something that I have been feeling a lot lately is this pressure to make the most out of summer. And I feel this every like May, June month. I just, it's almost, it really is like a pressure to make the most out of every single day because of the fact that we don't always like, at least in Michigan, we don't always get this amazing weather and we don't always, get all of this amazing, foliage and flowers and just like, yeah. So basically, what I've been feeling lately is summer pressure. And when you tie it in with having a bunch of weddings and sessions to shoot, it like, I don't know, it just becomes a little bit overwhelming. Like, you have to work all summer, but also you need to be taking advantage of your summer. You also need to be taking time off. But it's like, how do you take time off when I literally shot 2 weddings last weekend and I've got like 5,000 photos to sort through? Like, it is just, it's a lot. And I'm just here to tell you guys, like, you're not the only ones that feel like that. And maybe I am the only one that feels like this. I don't know, but it's a little bit overwhelming this summer. And I also feel like a lot of the places I want to travel to are like are basically like the same weather as Michigan. So it's like not like the same weather, but like the best time to visit is in the summer. And I really have like this internal conflict with this because, like, for example, a place that me and Charlie really want to go is Japan, but Japan has similar weather to where like you don't really want to visit in the winter, but like in the winter is when I want to go places because in the summer I want to stay in Michigan and enjoy my Michigan summer because Michigan summers are amazing and that's basically the only benefit to living in Michigan. So, yeah, it's a struggle, honestly. And if you guys, I don't know, if you guys can relate to this, let me know. I've been feeling this a lot lately, especially tying it in with like shooting a lot. It can become like almost like it just feels like it flies by, like we're already like well into June and it's just like that is actually crazy. Like a third of my summer is gone already. So, anyway, let's talk about what we're actually going to talk about today. That was just like a little bonus, little bit of food for thought. So, I actually got a DM and I don't remember the girl's name, but someone DM'd me and essentially asked me to talk about creating strong galleries and like what it looks like. And we're not just going to talk about creating a strong gallery. There's a lot of things that kind of play into that. So we're going to talk about all of it. So yeah, I don't think I have much else to say besides that. No really life updates other than the fact that I don't know exactly which Monday this episode's coming out. I'll either have already gone to Lake Tahoe or I'll be going there in like the next week. But basically, I'm attending a wedding in Lake Tahoe. And I'm so excited to not work a wedding. I love attending weddings. They're so magical. Honestly, I think as a wedding photographer, you kind of have to be a little bit of a romantic, like a hopeless romantic, a little bit, because, in order to successfully make every single couple feel like you haven't done this 50 times before, like you really have to romanticize the whole thing. And I think as a wedding photographer, I I am probably someone that romanticizes a lot of a wedding day. And so I think when I attend a wedding day, it is just like so fun because I love weddings to begin with, and then to be able to attend and not have to work it, it's just like so fun. And like obviously I'm excited for the couple and all of that. So yeah, we're traveling for that wedding, and yeah, I'm like I said, I'm excited to just not be, you know, shooting a wedding, but also I've never been to Lake Tahoe, so I think that's going to be really fun. Just going new places, checking places off my bucket list. This has been like a new thing for me. Sorry to keep rambling about this, but like going to places, like just places that I low key have always wanted to go to, but like never really made them a priority. Like I'm trying to check these places off my bucket list. Like I'm trying to get to a lot of places because I just think while I have the opportunity, while I'm not like, I don't know, like while my career is flexible, you just never know what the future holds. So I'm like, I want to get some travel in. Anyway, okay, so I got a DM, someone asking how to create a strong gallery. We're going to talk about that. I also want to talk about like how the strong gallery impacts like other areas too. Like it's not just, oh, I'm making a strong gallery. It's literally that plays into every aspect of your business, which I think is very interesting. So let's start with just the like basics. Like if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't even know what you mean by a strong gallery. I want to just define my terms real quick. So when I say a strong gallery, essentially a gallery is, what you deliver to your clients. You give them their final gallery. But a strong gallery is just like how it sounds. It's a gallery that is, I guess, good. Like you can deliver. So it's more about being like intentional with the photos you pick and choose to deliver. I would say a weaker gallery is a gallery where you're not super picky about what photos you choose. A lot of the photos look the same or there's not a ton of variation, and you just like send it off, right? Like you're doing minimal effort. You're not really checking through it. You're not really making sure it, is a strong gallery. It's like, it feels like a low effort gallery. A strong gallery is going to be something that, impacts your clients, I guess, like their final impression of you and your abilities. Like it allows them to feel something when they view their photos. So that is what a strong gallery is. Now, how do you make a strong gallery? So there's a few things that I personally think contribute to strong galleries. The first thing, which I kind of mentioned, even just in my little description, define my terms thing, having variation in a gallery creates a strong gallery. When I think of a strong gallery, I think of an Instagram post. And I know galleries, obviously, like you get more than 10 photos, on an Instagram post, you only get 10 photos. But think about when you're making a gallery, your photos are edited, you're uploading them. When you are in the visionary stage of the gallery, think about it like an Instagram post. For me, I want every single photo to feel and look different to keep my audience interested, right? And the same goes for your galleries. You want to create visual interest within your gallery so that every single photo speaks for itself. There's nothing worse than seeing a gallery where it's the same focal length, the same cropping, the same pose. It's just like there's a slight variation with like, oh, this girl's smiling, and then oh, now she's doing a teeth smile, and oh, she's smiling again, but I got a slightly different angle. That is, I think that kind of gallery just almost makes your work seem less worthy almost. It's really weird to think about, but think about like the fact that like I feel like back in the day people used to do a lot of galleries where you would deliver only a few and then you could buy more, right? You could buy more photos. So what makes someone want to buy a photo, right? It's a unique photo that speaks to them. If you've got 10 photos that are all the same pose, same focal length, same crop, same edit, literally same lighting, all of it's the same, that is not a photo that someone's going to want to buy. And even if you don't sell your photos like that, I don't. It's definitely something to keep in mind. So having variation within your gallery is so huge. And I actually think that when you're creating a gallery, it's also good to think of the gallery similar to like an Instagram feed. Like think about when you're constructing a gallery, how do you want it to look visually? Like, do you have two photos next to each other that are too similar? If so, which one can we get rid of? Or how can we crop it or make it different? And when we're talking about the gallery creation process, this actually isn't really something that happens once the photos are edited. When you create a strong gallery, this actually happens in the editing process. So before the photos are even finished and exported, you are looking at all of the photos as a whole and seeing, how it looks collectively as a gallery. So the best way to do this, honestly, is, you're editing in Lightroom, right? You go through, let's say you just edit through the photos one time. Go to the gallery view or like the wide grid view in Lightroom. Choose how big you want your thumbnails to be. Let's say we make them so you can see 9 photos per, on your screen at a time. Go through that, and within the 9 photos you see, are there photos that are super similar? Are there photos that you feel like are not strong enough to make it into the final gallery? Like these are all things to consider, and this is where a final gallery is built, truly a strong final gallery. And I mean, a while ago at this point, I had Miles Levitt on the pod, and he said that he crops his photos first before he even edits them. The crop is first. And I personally think that is such a smart way to make a strong gallery, truly. Crop everything first, get the visuals there, and then put the edit on it. Because I think at the end of the day, the strong gallery is not the edits themselves. The strong gallery is the photo and how did you crop it, right? Like the composition of it, how it varies photo to photo, that's what makes a strong gallery. So let's kind of go back to how to make a strong gallery. Variation, huge, huge, huge thing. Like I said, think about an Instagram feed. You vary between darks and lights. We vary between wide shots and close-ups to create an aesthetic on our feed, right? Why are we not also doing that in our gallery? Okay, so that's a big, 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 big thing. Something else within your gallery to make it strong. Personally, I think it starts with shooting. And this is probably what a lot of people like don't want to hear. They probably have like a bunch of galleries that they need to edit, and it's like, okay, well, I can't go back and shoot this. But I really want you to think about when you're shooting, are you getting variation? I mean, at the end of the day, I think variation is what makes the gallery the strongest, right? Like at the end of the day, what it boils down to, a strong gallery is a gallery with variation, intentional variation. So while you're shooting, when you get the shot you want, have the discipline to be like, okay, I already got this shot. How can I change this up on my end to add variation to the gallery? Can I switch to landscape? Can I push in for a close-up? Can I, step to the side a little bit to get a little bit of different lighting? Can I have my couple do something else to vary the pose slightly? So then I have, a completely new set of images within my gallery. it really is important to kind of think from like a film perspective when you're making a strong gallery. And when I say film perspective, I basically just mean like when you shoot film, you get one shot and then you got to rewind it, you got to crank it and then you take another shot. So being really intentional with your one shot, that's really how I feel like we should be shooting. And that's what's going to create a really strong gallery. So it starts with shooting. And even while you're shooting, like if you have your couple in a pose, let's say you've done all that you've done within that pose, changing up the lighting and the focal length, I think is a huge thing, specifically the lighting. Some of my favorite galleries that I've delivered are not 100% backlit. Like it's backlit and then I turn and, we get some side light and like it's really pretty to get varied lighting. And I think that is what a client kind of looks for in a gallery too. They're looking to see, do these photos all look different? Like I'm paying for, I don't know, 50 curated images. They're paying for 50 photos in a gallery. Do all 50 photos give me the variation that I want? If you deliver 150 photos, but you tell them 50, I feel like that kind of devalues your gallery a little bit. It makes your services not seem as valuable as they are, if that makes sense. So this actually reminds me of I shot a proposal a little while ago in the Hamptons, and when I was doing like the actual engagement photos, I was shooting a lot of backlit. And then I was like, you know what? But like I wasn't really getting into the water in it because like the way that the sun was, it was mostly like trees in the back. So I was like, you know what? We're literally at the beach. I'm going to shoot different lighting, but so that I can get the water in the back. And so we switched and we did a little bit of side lit, and the water was so like dark blue and pretty. Those are some of my favorite shots. I feel like it added so much variation to the gallery. Like the whole background was water. You know what I mean? Like even like the sky, like all of it was water. Like I was kind of shooting at a downward angle. And that added really nice dimension to my gallery, really nice depth. And that's something to think about while you're shooting. Are you able to vary the lighting, the background, to add in those elements of depth and light within your gallery? So, water in the background or having full sky, like that's something else that I think creates a really strong gallery. When you change the angle and like you're able to get different colors coming through. So like I think of some of my favorite shots I see on social media are when people get a little bit lower and it's full sky in the background. Like there's no horizon. It's just sky and clouds and then the subject. I think those are so fun because they're so different. Like we're just so used to people shooting at eye level. So I think that's another really good way to create a strong gallery. Okay. What else do we need to make a strong gallery? Crops. This is going to be huge. I think at the end of the day, I think this is something I struggle with too. Someone that's really creative is going to take a photo. Let's say it's just a photo of like a couple like snuggling up together. I think the creative is going to look at that photo and be like, okay, I got that shot before this. Like it's a little bit different, but I kind of already have a shot like that. What I'm going to do is, although it's a great photo, it's beautiful how it is, I already have something like this. So I'm going to crop in to like some sort of detail on the photo. I love when people do this. When you're cropping in and you're just getting like hands and like their mouths, or you're just getting like, I don't even know, like it's like a close up detail crop. This is gonna make a gallery so strong. And I want to encourage you guys to try this when you are, editing through your galleries. See if there are two photos. Like let's say there are two photos you just can't get rid of. You just love them so much, but they're so similar. Try really cropping in one of them or cropping it in and switching it to landscape. Like when you're able to use the crop to your advantage, that's going to give you a really strong gallery. Just think about seeing a gallery where it's like a shot of a couple, I don't know, like from their hips up or something, and they're like cuddling together. And then the next shot you see in the gallery is super close up and it's like a detailed shot of their hands or something like that. That's gonna, first of all, the background is different, right? It's a full composition. The whole photo is taken up of subject. There's no background. It's just like the full photo is a detail shot. And then the photo next to it's got the sky and it's got the ground and you can see where they are. That's a big thing, is seeing the setting, or when you have a detail shot like that, it almost pulls your viewer. It pulls them in and makes them, it kind of disassociates from, okay, we're shooting at the Eiffel Tower. And then like when you get that detail shot, it kind of makes it more intimate. That's, it's a close up, it's a more intimate detail, and it adds to the emotion behind it. And that kind of leads me to my next point. The only thing worse than taking too many photos while you're shooting is getting home and then having to edit all of them. Here are some ways to speed up your editing workflow without losing any quality in your work. Today, I want to introduce Aftershoot Edits 2.0. You can experience the most consistent edits straight out of Aftershoot. One of my favorite things about Aftershoot is their upgraded white balance and exposure AI models. Even if your lighting varies during your session and you have a lot of drastic changes, Aftershoot's able to instantly fix any blown out highlights, murky shadows, and overall, this feature allows you to have balanced photos no matter what your lighting conditions were. Another way to speed up your editing workflow is by using AI masking in Aftershoot Edits 2.0. This feature allows you to selectively edit your images through masking. With AI masking, Aftershoot can automatically select your subjects and adjust them to really make them pop in your image. Another great way to save time while you're editing is to use Aftershoot's advanced cropping and straightening. This tool allows you to customize and select any aspect ratio, and it even automatically crops in your photos so that the focus is more on your subject. It also can automatically straighten your photo, which is going to save you so much time in the long run. Say goodbye to spending way too much time editing your photos and use Aftershoot Edits 2.0. Aftershoot has an exclusive offer for all Oh Shoot listeners, so go to the link in the description of this episode to find out more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now back to the show. A strong gallery makes you feel something. And there is extreme art to storytelling and photography. I think there's a lot of photographers that haven't quite mastered storytelling, and then there's a lot of photographers who are amazing at storytelling. And I think the difference between the two is that strong gallery. It's while you're shooting, you're looking for variation, and then when you're constructing your gallery, you're editing, you're in the grid view, you're looking at things, you are making sure that every single photo speaks for itself. That is so huge. The art of storytelling within a gallery. Like, just think about it from your clients' perspectives. The gallery that I'm going to look back on and feel strong emotion towards, I feel nostalgia, I feel emotionally connected to my gallery. That is a strong gallery. That's a gallery that does exactly what I want it to do, which is, transport my clients back to that moment. It makes them feel the emotion that was present when, I captured them. That's what you want. And ultimately that feeling, that emotion that they get when they look at their gallery, that is going to be connected to you as a business, as a service. They're going to tie that amazing moment on their wedding day. They're tying that to you as well because you captured it so well. They're able to relive that moment in a way that is beautifully constructed. That's what they want. That's what your clients are looking for. So emotion for sure is a big thing when you're creating a strong gallery. When we're talking about galleries, there's only so much that creates a strong gallery itself. Variation, we talked about all of that. A big thing that helps me before I deliver my gallery, I'll do all the things in Lightroom. I look at things in the grid view. I try to make sure everything looks, strong and in Lightroom. But then once everything's exported and edited, I upload all my stuff to PicTime, which at this point I've been using PicTime for a long time. like 4 or 5 years at this point. I love PickTime. If you guys don't use PickTime, go use it. I don't have a link for you or anything, but it's a great service. I upload all my photos to PickTime. Then, and this is probably the most important time for me when I'm making sure my gallery is strong. Once my photos are uploaded, I hit the preview gallery button so I can like see what it looks like to my clients. And you know how, we've got the grid view in Lightroom, but once the photos are in PickTime, they're different. They're staggered a little bit. You don't really get to pick and choose which photo goes like first. It just kind of auto populates into this gallery view. What's really helpful for me is to go and look at my gallery once it's in PickTime from my client's perspective. So I am looking at it and I am thinking to myself, okay, I'm seeing these photos for the first time. I'm experiencing it as my client. Do I feel like this gallery is strong? Do I feel like this gallery is creative? Do I feel like this is something that I would pay for again? So that I'm kind of like giving myself a second reevaluation when I'm in PickTime. So, I preview my gallery, I'm scrolling through, and sometimes I will find, okay, these two photos look way too similar. I think they're going to get skipped over, or I just don't think these photos are strong enough. I'm going to get rid of them. Truly, you can literally go in and just delete them or hide them. And you do that whole thing. I don't know if this is so random, but sometimes I do this and a random raw photo will be in there. This is just a side note. Does that happen to anyone else? Like literally, I am like, how did this one photo not get edited? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, I go through one by one and I edit every single photo. How did this one photo not get an edit on it? And then how did it make it into the gallery? That's an important thing too. Imagine you are the client and your photographer forgot to double check their final gallery, sent it to you, and you had like a raw photo in there. I'd be like, bro, what the heck? Like literally double check your work. It's a little bit unprofessional. So that's another reason why I preview my galleries in PickTime, because I randomly will get a raw photo. It's rare, but it happens more often than you'd think. So that's just a little side note. Okay, so we've talked about the strong gallery thing. Truly, I think you have to have a passion for that visually. And I think, like I mentioned, it starts while you're shooting. And then if you get to the editing part, you really have to have like a creative passion for having a strong gallery. I don't know how else to say it. Like that's something that visually I think is very fun. And I'm sure a lot of you guys listening are either visual learners or you love visuals. I mean, as a photographer, you have to love visuals. That's literally what we do. So think about like the gallery as an art form itself. So a collection of all your photographs to create your own little piece of art, right? Like think about it like an art gallery. Think of your final gallery like a gallery where people are walking around and looking at each photo. Does each photo stand on its own? If you have like a collection of photos, are they all like slightly different? Are you varying them a little bit? That's a fun way to think of it. So create a little piece of art from your gallery. So your gallery is kind of like a collection of a bunch of art pieces, but view your gallery as a piece of art itself. So now let's talk about delivering galleries. And when I deliver my galleries, there's a couple of things. Number one, this is just like a little tip and trick for you guys. Make sure you are delivering photos to your clients before they end up on social media. It seems like common sense, but I promise you, like some people do not do this. I know you're excited to post them. You're excited for people to see your work, but the person who's the most excited is your client. So make sure your client has access to the photos that are posted before you post them. There's nothing worse than, and that is what will cause your clients to screenshot because you have not sent them the photos yet. So they feel like they have no option but to screenshot from your Instagram. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about delivering galleries effectively. So when you deliver galleries, number one, we're doing it in a timely manner, as always. Number two, our galleries are carefully constructed. We want our galleries to be strong. They're pieces of art. Number three, you are attaching some sort of email to your gallery that, I don't know, thanks. It's a template that is going to thank your clients, but it's also going to prompt them to leave you a review. I think this is a huge thing when you deliver your galleries while your client is like so excited about their photos, they're looking through their photos. Have that review link ready to go in that email that you send them, that final gallery delivery email. Have your review link there, because when I, get done with the service, right away I'm like, oh, I want to leave them a review. And unless you like prompt me to do it, unless you send me a link or whatever, it's rare I'm going to just go out of my way and just like leave a review. So that's a very important thing. Previews. You're going to deliver previews. I think this is a pretty common thing. I think basically everyone does this. But when you are picking your previews, okay, so this kind of goes back to the strong gallery thing, but when you're picking your previews, let's say for a wedding day, you're essentially picking, let's say it's 30 of your best and favorite photos from the wedding. Okay, you're picking the first kiss, the first look, the first dance. You're picking one photo from a speech each. You're picking like the reaction to the bride walking down the aisle. You're basically picking your best work from the day, sending it over in previews. Your final gallery should have that same pickiness and that same mindset. You should have a strong final gallery, not just strong previews, a strong final gallery as well. But it starts with having strong previews. So the same mindset that you're going to approach your previews with, that mindset we want to take over to the final gallery as well. There's nothing worse than delivering a 2,000 photo gallery. Like, imagine being the client and getting 2,000 freaking photos. I would literally be like, okay. Actually, like, as a client, you really only, I feel like 30 to 50 is how many they actually end up like using. So I don't know. I just think sometimes there's overkill and stuff. Anyway, let's get back to delivering galleries. Previews, that's a big thing. There for a while, I feel like people were really into like the slideshows, like specifically on PickTime, like sending your clients slideshows and stuff. Personally, I don't really do that. I don't think that adds any additional value onto anything. Like, I don't think clients are like, oh, I'm going to get this package. I'm going to go up in package because this one includes a slideshow. Like, I don't think people are really thinking like that. So that's something that I've really stopped caring about, are like the slideshows and like all these like different things that come out. Like, I just do previews and I do the final gallery. That's basically it. After you deliver a gallery, what do you do? So for me, I find that I like to create a couple of social media posts from that gallery. Mainly just like one post, I would say, maybe two if you like to batch and schedule out, but definitely one. And you are, when you're creating a social media post from a gallery, you're picking and choosing the best photos that are going to ultimately tell the story to your audience. So I like to create a few posts from that. If I have some videos from that wedding or session, I will take those videos and create like one or two reels from that just to have content. It's easier when it's top of mind. Like right after you deliver a gallery, those photos are in your mind, on your mind. So like it's a good idea to try to get some of that content done while you're currently thinking about the photos. Like in your head, you just deliver the gallery, like, okay, this photo was good. I liked this one. Like, now would be a good time to pick and choose the photos you want to have for your Instagram post. So that's something else that I do. I currently don't do my own blogging. I outsource it. But if you are one to do your own blogging, a next step would be blogging that gallery as well. So blogging for SEO, whatever it is that your blogging strategy is, that's something to do after you deliver your galleries as well. So speaking of social media, I wanted to touch on this real quick before we wrap up the episode. When you're creating a strong gallery, you're thinking of it like an Instagram feed, right? We're thinking of it like an Instagram post. And at the end of the day, your ability to create a strong gallery on social media is going to impact your marketing, your booking rates, like your first impression on new clients. All of that boils down to, do you have a strong gallery? Do you have the ability to pick and choose photos that make your galleries strong? And that translates over to social media big time. And honestly, a strong gallery in general, it makes a first impression on someone. Like, that gallery shows your ability to storytell and capture moments. When you get an inquiry and you send over an example gallery, don't you want that gallery to be like your best gallery? Don't you think almost all of your galleries should feel like your best gallery? Like, you should be able to have a gallery and feel comfortable sending any of your galleries to anyone. Like, you should feel comfortable with all of your galleries. Now, granted, sometimes people wear outfits that are not the vibe and whatever. That definitely, sometimes that happens. But for the most part, I really want to challenge you guys with like the idea of, are your galleries all strong enough to where you feel like you could send them to everyone and you are not picking and choosing, oh, this one's definitely my strongest. And if you are that person, you're like, oh, this one's definitely my strongest. Why is that? What are the things that impacted that gallery that make it your strongest gallery? So, your ability to create strong galleries then is going to translate over to social media. And ultimately, you're creating a little gallery on your Instagram feed or on your Reels feed. You create galleries within what you post. So think about that as a first impression to begin with. Like, that itself, when someone finds you on Instagram, that is going to indicate your style, how you capture things. That in itself is what is going to make the first impression on people. Then if someone does find your Instagram feed to be good enough for them to reach out and they feel connected to it, then you're going to send them another strong gallery that is just like the epitome of storytelling. It's so strong, that's going to result in someone booking with you. So it is truly so important to make sure that your Instagram feed, your posts all reflect your ability to create a strong gallery. And a big thing that's helped me with this, because I'm like truly a chronic overshooter, is just slowing down while I'm shooting. Really, honestly, making myself shoot things out of my comfort zone, thinking outside of the box a little bit, like shooting in different lighting than I normally would, or I don't know, doing different focal lengths or trying new poses. There's so many things that you can do that are going to challenge you creatively and also help you create a stronger gallery. I just think about like the people who are carefully curating their galleries versus the people who just deliver basically all the good photos and that's it. I mean, it's really impactful seeing strong galleries. Like, it is life-changing. It makes you think to yourself, like, why do I deliver 10 photos that are the exact same? Who is that benefiting? The only person that's benefiting is me. It's honestly, low-key, it's kind of selfish because I'm like, okay, well, I don't know which one they're going to like the best, so I'm going to send them all over to them, and that's going to give me comfort. But at the end of the day, what that does for your client is it just stresses them out. It makes them feel overwhelmed. It makes them feel like they have too many options. And they're only going to use one of those 10 photos. So like, why not just give them one or maybe two? You know what I mean? I think there's this mindset where we feel like we have to overcompensate and like just really overdo it with what we deliver because that is the safest option. It is scary. Creating a strong gallery is scary because you have to eliminate good photos. But at the end of the day, it's not the good photos we want to deliver. It's the great photos. It's the photos that are Instagram worthy. They are website worthy. That's what your clients want to see. They don't want to see mediocre photos that like you already delivered 20 photos that look like that. That's not really what they're looking for. You want to deliver a gallery that's really impactful on your clients, which ultimately is going to lead to more bookings, better reviews, and you'll make more money ultimately at the end of the day. Like, that's kind of how it goes. So that's all I have for this episode for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you're feeling a little bit of that summer pressure, I'm right there with you. Take advantage of every day. But remember, it's okay to chill and sit inside on your couch and not go outside. Like, it is okay. So thank you guys so much for listening. I will see you next week for another episode. Have a great rest of your day.